is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? Welcome to the lockdown coverage, week number 9 in the National Football League. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, taking on the Cleveland Browns. Browns looking for their first win of the season. Cowboys looking to continue the hottest win streak in the league at 7 games. Dak Prescott playing at a phenomenal level as a rookie. You almost forget at times that this kid is a rookie because of the poise that he shows and the confidence that he plays the game with. But in fact, he is a rookie. And as the weeks pass, the question becomes less and less about, is Dak Prescott the man in Dallas, and more about, will they have Zeke Elliott with his domestic violence situation going on? That much confidence has been put into this team by Dak Prescott, and I think it is a foregone conclusion that this is his team now moving forward. I think some point this season we will see number 9 on the field. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but before we jump into anything this evening, or morning I should say, welcome to the Louie Tee Network and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I want you to be a part of that. So hit that red subscribe button and sign up and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network. Also, on YouTube. Also, if you're on Twitter, so am I. At In The Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and give me some love there. Follow me on Twitter at In The Lab Room. All my social media platforms right up there, scrolling across the screen. Can't miss them. If you want to know what I'm doing in a live feed, and you're new, because if you've been here, you know that on the Mondays after a slate full of games on Sunday, you're gonna get lockdown coverage. It's gonna be random, no particular order, but it's gonna be random in terms of the times that these videos are uploaded. So you just got to be following me on Twitter so that you'll get that tweet. Turn on your notifications. You want to chop it up with me during the telecast. You want to chop it up with me afterwards. You want to chop it up while you're watching a game and like, man, I just saw this and yada, yada. Hey, that's what Twitter is for, man. Instant gratification. Get your message out there. And so, at In The Lab Room is my Twitter handle. Also, I'm on Facebook. In The Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up there. I'm working on Facebook Live, and I think I'm going to use that in the near future. So go ahead, get ahead of that curve, and like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. So, that being said, let's jump into this breakdown. And normally when I break games down, I use my likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe format. But when it's an ass whooping, you guys know how I do it. And if you don't, let me explain to you what I do. Simply, when it's an ass whooping, it's not the same as a competitive football game. So I don't put forth the same type of effort in taking notes and being meticulous in my approach when breaking the game down, because it was an ass whooping, okay? One of the teams in that game didn't put forth the same effort, so neither should I. So in that regard, I don't break down likes, dislikes, banana, and tailpipe. I simply tell you what I saw from afar. So all I do is tell you what I saw from afar. So here is essentially what I saw from afar in this game. We start with the victors. To the victors go the sports. When ass whoopings are handed out, you always start with the team doing the ass whooping. And in that case, we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys getting it done 35-10. Another dominant performance by the offense. And we sleep on the defense, and we'll talk about them here in a second, but the offense is what drives this football team. If not for the offense and the dominance of this offense, I don't think this team is where they are right now at 7-1. Obviously, the offense is a lot of what you see with this Cowboys team on a weekly basis. Last week, you could argue the defense held it down because the offense was so stagnant that the defense held it down long enough until the offense could come around and pick up the slack. But this was one of those performances where you come out, the defense gives up a field goal on the first possession, the offense goes right down the field and gets the points back, and then some, gets a touchdown. Jason Witten was huge in this game. This has to be his biggest game in over a year. 8 catches, 134 yards, a touch. he was magnificent. It seemed like he was open all day long. Bootlegs, flag routes, corner routes. You name it, he was open over the middle of the field as a security blanket. Witten was the man in this game. They really wanted to take Des Bryant out of the ball game, and because of that, they put so much emphasis on taking away double eight. They forgot about 82, who's the future Hall of Famer, and they had to figure that out the hard way in this football game. Zeke Elliott, nice return back to Ohio, and 18 carries, 92 yards. Wasn't a tremendous day. Didn't need to be. I mean, if he would have stayed in and played a majority of the fourth quarter, he would have been well over 100 yards. But I love the fact that they didn't feel the need to keep giving a young man the football. He's had a ton of carries this season. No need to give him another 25. If you can stop him at 18, great. Lower some of the mileage and the wear and tear on that young man as you continue on. Remember, he's not used to playing a full 16-game slate, so don't wear his body down and beat him up. You can get him out of the game with only 18 carries. Do that. That's what they did. I thought that was a great move by the Cowboys to not overwork their young workhorse. And Dak Prescott again. What more can I say about Dak Prescott? This guy is just phenomenal. And 21 of 27 for 200 and some odd yards and 3 touchdowns. He continues to use his legs when he needs to, only out of necessity. Yet at Mississippi State, that's what he did most of the time, was run. But this guy's playing the position at such a phenomenal level, throwing a football all over the field, going through his progressions and reads, just making smart decisions, not forcing the issue, high completion percentage as you saw in this game, just commanding the offense and really destroying the Browns defense. They gave him opportunities he did not miss in this game, and they racked up 35 points and just ran the Browns out of the gym. And that's what you're supposed to do to a bad football team. Time and time again, we see bad teams being allowed to stay in ball games. Cowboys had none of it in this game. They put the screws to the Browns early and often and got rid of those boys and win the game 35-10. Let's talk about the defense quickly before we move on to the Browns. This Cowboys defense is underrated, and they've got a number of injuries, and maybe this wasn't the team to test those injuries. We'll see how the injuries impact them maybe next week a little bit more with the game against the Steelers. But in this game, the defense did what they've done for the majority of this season, which is come out and be solid. They're not great. They don't scare you necessarily, but week after week after week, they come out and they get the job done. Rob Marinelli deserves a ton of credit because a lot of these guys aren't household names. You don't know who they are, but yet they're going out and getting the job done. And you saw it again in this game, guys just doing what they do best, which is just find a way to get to the football. Pressure on Cody Kessler made him uncomfortable early, and once they got to a sizable lead, then they could pin their ears back and get after Cody Kessler and the Cleveland Browns. And that's what they did in this game. When they needed to buckle down, like early in the game, when they gave up the big catch to Crowell, they buckled down and forced a field goal. On the next possession, after the Browns had a great punt, pinning the Cowboys at the 1-yard line and got great field position, Cowboys needed to buckle down and force a field goal. They forced a field goal, and it was missed. This defense does what they have to do. Again, it's not always pretty. It's not flashy. They don't have household names. But because the offense is so good, and they eat up so much time, and this defense isn't on the field as often. They're fresh, and they come out and they do what they need to do, and they did it again in this game. You go to the Cleveland Browns side of things, and now they're 0-9, and they do what 0-9 teams do. There were a number of instances in this game where you're just frustrated at the Browns because you see the mistakes and you see things that they need to change, but you just don't know when those changes are going to take place, if they're going to, in fact, take place in time enough for them to get a win this season. There are a couple of stretches throughout this game where I just shook my head and said, that's why you're 0-9. I mean, simply put, you get that first catch to Crowell over the middle of the field, big gain, gets you deep into Cowboys territory. You got to find a way to get into the end zone on that possession. You can't settle for 3. You're not good enough to kick field goals and still expect to win. You need 7. You end up kicking a field goal. Okay, fine. Then you get down there again. And and look, this is a great sequence of events, and this is what winning teams do, but the Browns aren't a winning team. They pin the Cowboys at 1. Great special teams play by the Browns. Then you get a 3-and-out, which is exactly what you want in that situation. Get the 3-and-out, get some great field position, have the Cowboys punt from their own end zone. Check, check, check. Duke Johnson would have loved to have seen him come up and fair caught that football. It was a short kick. Don't let it bounce. But then he does something that I don't know if you necessarily want to see your punt returner doing, but it saved the Browns a ton of yards. He dives up, grabs the football. Should have caught it on the initial kick, but okay. He grabs it before it bounces and trickles another 12 yards and takes away and negates that great field position. Okay, so now you got the football right around midfield. Excellent. Go get you some points. At least get you 3. You would love 7 in this situation. You worked hard to get that ball down at the 1. You worked hard defensively to get the 3 and out. Now you got great field position. Get 7. That's what the great teams do in this league. That's what the good teams in this league do. Okay, so you can't get 7. You can get 3, and Cody Parkey misses the field goal. Those are the types of things right there that you just say to yourself, that's why you're the Browns. I'll give you another instance of why this team isn't any good and why they haven't won this season, and then we'll just move on. Look, the Cowboys have the football in the Browns' red zone. It's 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9. Okay, they got them in a long down and distance situation right where you want them. You got a chance to force a field goal. And what do the Browns do on 3rd and 9? They line up off sides. Wow, you're off sides. In the neutral zone. At the snap, when all you have to do is look down the line and look at the ball. Okay, fine. So now, on an incomplete pass, Cowboys would have to settle for a field goal. They get a fresh opportunity at 3rd and 4 now. Okay, cool. Stop them again. The next play, the defensive tackle next to the guy that just was offsides lines up offsides in the neutral zone. Are you kidding me? All you got to do is look down at the ball. And now you just gave the Cowboys 10 yards in consecutive plays on 3rd and 9. 2 plays later, Cowboys are in the end zone, and this game is done. And I literally said that's why the Browns are 0-8. Say no more. And are going to be 0-9. And I don't know. I know Hugh Jackson has to be extremely frustrated because how do you correct that? I mean, that's simple, fundamental football. That's not something that I need to coach you on. You see the football, you line up behind the football. Not at the football, not past it, behind it. It's simple. And they can't even get that right. So it's another game where you look at it and you say, Cody Kessler, not the problem. He's not the problem here. 19 to 27, 203 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. He's not the problem. I keep saying that. It's a reason why Josh McCown's healthy enough to play, but they started Cody Kessler instead. You know who Josh McCown is. That's cool. I'm glad they understand it. We don't need to see that act. We're 0-8, 0-9 now. No reason to put in a veteran. We're not looking to win games with Josh McCown. We're looking to find out who we have so we can make decisions accordingly moving forward. And so, to me, you play Cody Kessler, and you find out if he's the guy, or if he's just a stopgap, or if he's just a backup. Right now, I think Cody Kessler can be the guy. We'll see. Maybe they don't feel the same way. Maybe they think he's their best option right now, but in terms of long-term solutions, he's not the guy. I look at Cody Kessler and I say, why not? Until you give me a good enough reason, why not? Why not? Thought he played well again. Thought he was solid enough. So we'll see. But another disappointing effort by the Cleveland Browns. This time it wasn't even close. At least in most games this season, you could at least say the Browns were competitive for much of the game, a half of the game, 3/4 of the game. They were competitive for probably the first half of this game. They did score a touchdown to end the first half to give themselves a chance to maybe get back in the game, but we knew that was false hope. That was fool's gold. They weren't going to do anything, and they couldn't stop the Cowboys' offense anyway, and so they lose this game 35-10. Another win for the Cowboys. They extend the winning streak to 7 straight now at 7-1, commanding lead in the NFC East. Well, I won't say commanding, because the Giants won, and the Giants hold the only victory over the Cowboys this season. So the Giants sitting at 5-3, they're within striking distance, but there's still a sizable margin there of 2 games between the Giants and the Cowboys as the Cowboys continue their hot football this season. For the Browns, they're 0-9, and like I said, I don't think they're going to win a game this season. It's really simple for me. I don't see them winning a game. Of course, most likely they're going to jump up and bite somebody when you least expect it, but right now, the Jets game was the one for me. I said they got to beat the Jets. The Jets aren't a good football team, and they were up 20-7 at halftime, and they blew that lead inexplicably. I don't really have much for you. I just don't see the Browns winning the game this season, And it hurts because 0-16 goes down in infamy forever. You don't want to be known as a member of the team or the franchise that didn't win a game in a season. The Buccaneers did it, and no one has ever forgot that team. And the Lions did it, and no one has ever forgot that 08 Lions football team. It is the worst thing when you lose every single game you play in. That is in a level of ineptitude that is rarely met in this league, and the Browns look like they're on a crash course for it this season. So let's get to a couple of your comments. Chris Deaver says, "What's up, my man? Great game from my boys. 7-1." He says, "Yeah, your boys." And I love how they approach this game. Go out and dominate them. Don't allow them to be in this game. Don't allow this to be close. For what? Put these boys out of their misery. Make sure they know they don't have a chance and keep it moving." Eagle Speed is a nerd says, "If you had to choose between Cowboys, Falcons, Vikings, Seahawks, who will win the NFC?" Right now, I'm going with the Cowboys. It would not shock me in the least if the Falcons got that done. Cowboys do have a tough schedule, but they've shown me this season I feel confident enough that the Cowboys aren't fazed by going on the road. The Cowboys aren't fazed by a good competition. They've beat teams this season and let me know that they're not afraid of any moment, and they're not out of ball games. They were down 10 to Philly in the fourth quarter, and they came back and won that game. So right now I'm sticking with the Cowboys until someone else shows me, or the Cowboys themselves show me otherwise. I'll take the Cowboys as the NFC team to beat right now in that conference. Eagle Speed as a nerd says, "Do you like Dak?" I love Dak Prescott. I thought he was a really good prospect coming out of Mississippi State. I just thought that he was going to need time. I didn't think he would be ready to go this early and be as effective as he's been for the Cowboys this soon in his career. I thought he's a guy that you work with behind the scenes for the next 2 years, and then maybe down the line he'd be ready, a la Tony Romo sitting behind Drew Bledsoe and kind of learning the ropes and then figuring it out and then getting an opportunity and then running with it. Dak just hit the ground running. And so I'm excited for him. I want to see him continue to play well. He's playing at a very high level, and we'll see how far he can take this Cowboys team, because in my mind, he is the guy. And Jerry Jones, you could call Jerry Jones a lot of things, man. One thing you can't call Jerry Jones is stupid. Okay, you can call him a number of things. Meddlesome, egotistical. Call him what you like. You know, big mouth, brash, flashy. Call him what you like, but don't call him dumb. That's the one thing you can't call Jerry Jones. Is he's not stupid. He understands what's going on here. Dak Prescott is the quarterback of this team. But tell you this much. At some point, and don't ask me how, don't ask me why, don't ask me when, you're going to see Tony Romo on the field for the Dallas Cowboys this season. And I believe in a starting capacity. But I don't think it's going to be a situation where when Tony's healthy, it's his job. But I think at some point, we're going to see Tony Romo hit the field as a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys for some reason. And I don't know why. It's probably going to have to be injury. Could be poor play, but I don't know what it is. We're going to see Tony Romo on the field at some point this season. Maybe it's not in a starting role. Maybe it's in a relief role. But in any event, you're going to see Tony Romo on the field for the Dallas Cowboys in 2016, in the regular season, for some reason, in a meaningful football game. Mark my words. That's going to do it for the Cleveland Browns. Got one more comment. Chris Deaver says, "Started watching the New York Philly game at Dallas halftime trap game. I'm ready for Pitt." You should be. That's going to be a big game, and the Steelers, they're coming off of a tough loss. They're going to be ready. So the Cowboys need to be ready. That's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a fun game to watch. I know that much. We'll see what happens there. But if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on lockdown coverage. Cleveland Browns drop to 0-9. Cowboys win their 7th straight, go to 7-1 on the season with a 35-10 victory over the Cleveland Browns. I'm your man, Louie Tee, signing off. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I will see you next time. Got plenty of games to break down. I'll be back with that overtime thriller, Lions at Vikings, in a little while. I'll see you then. Have a good one.